Hello, darlings. It's your girl Adina with the Liberated Pussy Podcast. I'm back. And we have a very special show today. This is season 2. We're going to have, of course, Monique Ruffin and also the lovely Gabrielle Zelina will be joining us today. So, why is it grayed out? I'm trying to invite you guys. Oh, I see it. There's Mo. All right. Talk about sisterhood. Y'all send me some energy so we can get everybody into this live. Come on, you know how we do. Abracadabra, abracadabra, abracadabra. Happy Love Day to those who do that. It's Love Day every day for me, but I'm in the flow of what's up. Okay, so I see your request, Mo. I said yes. Gabby, where you at? I see you. Okay. Invited. Okay. Accept. Come on now. Come on, IG. Abracadabra. Abracadabra. Let them in. Let them in. Let them in. Let me view how we do. Okay. 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 All righty. Still trying to get the ladies into the room. Send me some love, y'all. Send me some. Oh, there she is. We got one.
Hi,
We
one
got
of us made
one.
it.
Now let's get Gabby in here. Can you hear me?
I can.
I can't hear you. Why can't I hear you?
Oh, so it's okay. I can hear you perfectly.
I have a new mic. I'm going to take it off because perhaps it's not working. I can't hear you. Can you hear me now? Okay, now I can hear you. Great. Trying to up this technology. All right, now let's get Gabby in here.
Hey, Gabby.
Hey, Gabs. Okay, there she is. Yes. Happy Love Day, Moon Mama.
Happy Love Day, Adina.
I love you, darling.
I love you
Oh, there she
too.
is.
Hi,
Yay.
Gabrielle.
She's on the line. I can see everybody. Yay.
What's going on, y'all?
Hello, darling.
It's so good to
I'm
have
trying to
you
get
here with
back in the
us.
I want to do something cute.
Yes.
It's Love Day, right?
It's Love Day. Now, you know it's Love Day every day, but for the rest of the world, you know what I mean?
Right.
They doing Love Day. Hola to
Yes.
those sisters who are giving us love here on the podcast. I see some hearts coming up. Thank you for that. We have, of course, the Moo Mama, and we have the amazing Gabrielle Zelina here with us as well. So let me just remind y'all who I am. I am Adina Gittin Smith, the goddess of magical movement. We've been doing this podcast for about 6 or 7 months now. So we're doing a thing. It is coming together. Happy Love Day to you, Richard. Richard's putting some hearts up. Hey, Lori, happy Love Day to you as well. Let's just go around the horn. Everyone introduce themselves. We have an amazing conversation today about sisterhood. Y'all, what is it all about? Can we do it? Do we have what it takes? And I'm going to give you the spoiler alert. We do. We do. But there's some stuff we got to do to get there. There's some stuff we got to do to get there. I see Moon Mama getting her stuff together over there. She's like, listen, them apples got on red and shit, and I'm over here. Let me get some love flowing on me. Get it right, Mama. Get it right.
I didn't know that I could do this.
Right? You can do it. You are magical. You can do whatever you want. Come on, Moon Mama. Introduce yourself while
Okay.
you flicking through.
Gabrielle, you
Oh,
want to introduce yourself
now,
first
Mama,
or no?
that's too much. Don't do that one.
All right. I'm playing with the thing. Okay, let me stop. Okay, let me see. Okay. So, hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. I am the Moon Mama, also Monique. I am the co-founder over at Follow the Sun. My devotion is assisting women in waking up to their magic. That is what I believe in.
Yes.
I don't think that there's anything more valuable on the planet than helping women wake up to their magic. because that will change their lives and the lives of everyone that they are connected to. You can find me at healwiththemoonmama.com, and that's who I am.
Ashe.
Yay!
Yes, 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 yes. All right, we have the lovely Gabrielle Zelina here with us today. We'll let her introduce herself, and then the whole conversation will come together. And of course, we'll tell you about an amazing offering we have going to Bali. So we'll talk about that a little bit later, but we invite everyone to that. Gabby, tell the people who you are.
Yes. I am Gabrielle Zelina, also known as Pachamama. I am one half of Noble Paradigm. I'm also one half or some part of Follow the Sun, and I'm a spiritual conditioning coach. So what I do is help people with spiritual conditioning. Like, you go to the gym, you work your body out. I'm the one you come to when you want to work your spirit out. Okay. And my main modality is in hypnotherapy and lacing. And so that's what we do. We help people with their relationship with themselves, because that's the foundational relationship that affects every relationship in your life. So that is who I am. That's what I do. You can find us at nobleparadigm.com. We are launching our app soon. You can also find me at Follow the Sun in our 13 Moons monthly manifestation course. It is very beautiful and powerful. And that's where I really do a lot of my work at.
Ashe. Well, welcome, my sister. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here with us. And we have actually been talking about having you here with us for a while. So this is a wonderful manifestation for the three of us to be sitting here together right now. And I say thank you. I'm grateful that you're here today. So Moon Mama normally starts with gives us a little update on what the sun is doing and the moon is doing, what the universe is doing. So would you like to do that now, Moon Mama, before we start?
I would. So we are in some of the most intense astrology ever. We have Pluto recently moved into to Aquarius. It's still at the 0 degree of Aquarius, and Mercury, Mars, and Venus are all conjuncting Pluto in the last couple of weeks and in this next week coming up. And really what that is, it's really a death to our old selves. It's a death to the part of you that has been playing small, that has been masked, that has been in doubt, or, the parts of us that would have us forego our true nature for another perspective. Like the parts of us that would have us abandon ourselves for belonging, for connection that gives us the idea that we're not alone, but we're not really fulfilled in that connection. We're just going through the motions, right? So this astrology is once in a lifetime astrology. We have never experienced this before. We've never experienced these aspects in Aquarius. And so what's happening is we're being given the energy to really dislodge from old patterns and ways of being. And if you think about your life, what in your life is telling you ain't no more over here? What is saying we done with that? Like if you look at your life, is it relationships? Is it, is it your work? Are you being forced out of old health practices? Like where are you being kicked out of an old comfort zone that you knew was gonna expire at some point anyway, but now it's happening and it's time for you to make a change. And so that's really the energy we're in. We're going to have a full moon in Virgo in about a week and a half. And so this is an integrating period Virgo is the harvest. So the things that you have been putting your energy and attention in for the last 6 months, the harvest is on its way.
All right.
Yes. All right. So that's it. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, I'm here for the harvest. Yes. Thank you for that. Yes. Yes. And let me say to those who are watching us and who may not know, the three of us work at Follow the Sun together, separately and together. So just know that we are, and so we're coming together to talk about sisterhood. Sisterhood. We want to talk about mirroring and venting, and then the treasure that comes out of triggers. Does anyone want to open the conversation as we start, or do you want me to just kind of jump in?
No, let Gabrielle go. I feel like I always want to
Okay.
pick on
Oh,
her.
yay,
Okay. I know
yay. Well,
she loves that.
yeah, yeah. So what's interesting is the three of us actually initiated in Blue Butterfly Sanctuary. And so we have been doing the work to continue sisterhood. That's where I became sisters with these women. And I mean, that initiation led by my sister Goddess Bay is what I'm gonna call her today, Kenya K. Stevens. She really taught us so many things about real sisterhood and tools that help you have it. Because I'm not gonna lie, I am one of the oldest. I'm my mother's firstborn, but I'm one of the oldest in my blended family.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you, the relationships were tumultuous. We could not stay together. We could not do the work. You know, it was just, I didn't have tools until I met Kenya. And she really held an environment that changed my life. And so we at Father the Son are really continuing that work. Blue Butterfly Sanctuary doesn't exist the way it used to. That initiation doesn't exist in that way anymore. But we have set out in the world to continue this sisterhood work and really, you know, grow ourselves as women, be the examples in women communities. And I'm grateful because I'm not going to lie, it's not easy for me all the time. If I did not have tools, I would not be able to bounce back because I'm just healing from a big community just issue in my own life. You know what I mean? And only because of this spiritual conditioning work have I been able to say, you know what? I love my sisterhood. I love knowing that challenges are going to come and they're here to grow me.
Mm-hmm.
I love knowing that I do have what it takes to have the type of connections and sisterhood I want, because so many women out here are lost. They want the love and connection, but they're so burned or just scraped from relationships that they just don't think it's a safe place anymore.
Yes.
Okay.
How many
So
times have you heard women say, I don't get along with women? You know, you hear women say that
10
all the
years
time.
ago,
Like, I can't
I
do
said
women.
it. 10 years
Okay.
ago, I said it. I was
Okay.
the one saying it. You know what I mean? Because that was my experience. I did not
Mm-hmm.
have the tools or feminine vulnerability to hold sisterhood together. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a big conversation piece that to this day, women don't know how to do it. They
Yeah.
want it, underneath all the vents and the triggers and the I can't stand that, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like, oh my God, I really wish I had sisterhood. I really wish I had women, a circle of women I can lean into and count on to really grow with in life. Women are looking for a romantic partner or a husband, but they are equally looking for their comrades in the feminine realm. You know what I mean? So absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for that, Gabby.
Yeah.
Mo, what do you say to that?
It's interesting for me because women have always saved my life. I have
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be anything without women. First my grandmother came to rescue me, and then I've always been a woman who had a lot of girlfriends. It's just been my natural way. Um, and in that there has always been messiness. you know, where like one of the things that I've really discovered is that women don't understand our power and how it works. So when we start seething and getting venti about one another, if we don't have a tool or several tools to be able to translate those internal feelings, we just project all over one another.
Mm-hmm.
And
Throw up. It's throw up.
right, exactly. And so it has been a gift when we were at PLA to really come together in community with women. And I have to say, like, I didn't feel like the tools helped us navigate the relationships, but that didn't make us be friends.
No.
Okay?
I
Right.
mean, you could
So
assume you were friends with someone, but it didn't necessarily mean you
it did
were.
not make us be friends. And what I'm interested in is intimate relationships with women that
Mm-hmm.
are friendly, right? Not romantic relationships with women, because I'm a straight woman. But and 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 so it's like how to create the tools can help us really build in these friendships that are indestructible, is what I believe.
Okay.
and um and my friendships with women are everything to me. I value them almost above all of my other because if I didn't, like, my girlfriends just fucking do it. Like, I don't even know what else to say. Like, I mean, Adina and Gabrielle, you both know how close I am to you all, and it's like the level of community and devotion and sharing and self is just priceless. And I've always had that in my life with girlfriends, and I don't know if it'll ever be any different. So anyway, that's all I have to say
Okay.
about it. Okay.
Well, I'll say this, coming from growing up in dance, I didn't, and being a dancer that didn't have the particular body that they wanted dancers to have, I always felt like an outsider in a group of dancers. Like I was a size 4 and everybody was a size 0, so I was a cow. You know what I mean? Like I had dance teachers call me a cow, right? So I was like off with that. But I'm bringing that example up to say that I was in situations where there could have been sisterhood, but it wasn't. It was very, even though we were in a dance company together, it was very catty, it was very competition oriented, and it was very mean girl. You know, that didn't really resonate with my spirit, but I wanted to dance. So I stayed in that situation because I wanted to dance. But I was clear that excuse me, y'all, those bitches weren't my friends. I was clear. We just danced together. I was clear. And so now, fast forward, I've had the opportunity to build a dance community. And those things that I didn't like about what was happening there outside of the artistry, I have really worked to create an environment where everybody's welcome, all bodies are welcome. And there is love, like there is genuine love. When you come through our door, it's like you are supposed to be here. I want women to feel that because I understand how important true sisterhood really is. Now, little Adina, having felt hurt or having felt left out, I recognize that little Adina still needs some healing and might still need a hug and still needs some love. But I know why I create systems and environments where women can really be loved and held and do the healing that we do together, like Monique is talking about. So I'm glad we're having this conversation. And if I can share a little bit, Gabby, is it okay if I share a little bit about what happened with us this week or last week? An aspect of it. Are you okay with that?
My phone rang. It jumped out. Can you say that again?
Okay, I was just asking if I wanted to share a little bit about our process as we're talking, because someone asked a question, how do we do that? How do we do that? Because it doesn't mean that things don't come up. It doesn't mean that everything's perfect. Like we're not sitting here saying, hey, we figured out sisterhood and you guys don't know how to do it. And that's not what we're saying at all. We're saying it's clunky. We're saying it's messy sometimes. But what helps us is having systems to come back to and really owning our own feelings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So Gabby vented to me last week, and and I was excited about the vent because I knew that we both had a process for how to get through it. So that part was exciting to me to say, okay, this is somebody I can vent with, and I'm not teaching them the process as they're venting. I don't have to be unconsciously saying they don't know they're venting. It's like, no, she knows the process. I know the process. Let's see where we go. Yeah. What was very interesting for me is after you shared your vent, when you asked for empathy, but I was in my feeling. I had to really put my feeling aside and just be empathetic to what you were sharing. I'm like, wow, that's really hard to do. When I'm teaching other people and I'm telling them, these are the things you have. You know, you have repeat back, you have empathy, you have simulation, you have touch, you have open-ended question. But when you're in your feeling and somebody asks for empathy, they're asking you to feel their feeling. I was like, wow, okay. And so I had to put little Adina to the side and ask higher self Adina to just feel what Gabby's saying right now. Just feel, and have you felt that before? And I was able to access my feeling, what you had expressed to me, but I had to say I had to work with myself to do that, because it's not about being in your response. I'm gonna say this back, or when I get my chance to vent, I'm gonna say that. It's like, no, 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 no. Just be right here in this moment right now. Just be right here in this moment. And so that part was was a gift to me to really understand when I'm venting with someone else and I'm asking them for empathy. They might not know how to do that. They might not know how to access that. It's hard for them. And I can have even more compassion for someone trying to go through a process with me. Yeah. And I'm asking for empathy. So for that, I'm grateful. Now, you know, we moved all through it and that kind of thing. But what came up for me, the treasure for me out of our event was I got to see Lil Adina again. And Lil Adina thinking that, oh, I thought we were friends. That was a piece that was hurtful to me. You know, that Lil Adina was hurt about. It's like, oh, okay. But then Big Adina is always like, we're going to be authentically wherever we are. Big Adina is not about faking it or trying to do any of that. And, and I share that with you. It's about, let's look at where we actually are so we can grow from there. But Lil Adina was like, what? You know what I'm saying? And so, but that was for me to, hug my little girl, love my little girl, and make sure she knows that she's cool, because I have created a community of women with belly dancers of color, my hair clients, and just my friends. I got women like Monique who hold me down. I don't necessarily need more women friends. I'm not out there looking for that. But if they come and it's authentic, I'm open to that. I'm not pushing folks away, but I'm not searching for that either, because I know I'm deeply held and I'm deeply loved. So I thank you for having, for walking through that process with me. And I'm in gratitude because I was able to give additional care to my little girl, to little. So that's what I have to say. Yeah. Yay, little Dina.
Yes, that's
She's healing. She's always healing.
Exactly. And that's the thing in sisterhood. I love how you identified that your inner child, because most of the time a woman is venting, she's venting from her own inner child too. So that was the opportunity for my inner child to dance with your inner child, because that to me is what sisterhood really is. And that's really what I was saying is, Adina, you and I have not been here. We don't, we've done stuff like, oh, let's go travel, let's go do this. But for me, I'm such an intimate woman. I'm intimate with women. I'm intimate with men. And what counts to me as something thorough and real is that deep intimacy. So that was a great opening for us to start to really dance and know each other and get bonded together. You know what I mean? So that has been a paramountable aspect.
Can you turn your phone? Can you make it so nobody can text
There we
you?
go. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
but
you.
can you close your phone so nobody can?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
I had to put it on Do Not Disturb. This
Thank you.
Going off
That's what I'm trying to say.
Why you ain't tell me, Monique?
Right.
So, that's the aspect of sisterhood that I value so much, is we're dealing with different aspects of women. I don't care if you're 50 something years old. I don't care if you're 20 something years old. Like, there are multiple aspects of a human. And when I initiated with Kenya K. Stevens, who created Up Level, which are the tools we're talking about here in this communication aspect, like, she really brought something to me that helped me accept the various parts of me. I didn't know. I'm thinking, oh, I'm a big girl. I got to always be a big girl. I can't really show my little self. Who was like, oh my God, I'm afraid you don't love me. I'm afraid you don't care about the real me. Like, you care about this or that, but you don't care about me. So these tools have made room for true bonding and true connection. And that is the area of sisterhood that means so much to me, because growing up with a mother who really was on her warrior mission for our family, there were no space for real bonding and feelings. It was survival of the fittest every day. You know what I mean? So when it comes to real connection and, the things that I've built with Monique over the years, and any woman that I've built sisterhood with, it's like, we have to have these tools. And I'm glad I was able to say, hey, Adina, like, my version of sisterhood may not be your version of sisterhood. You know what I mean? Like, I am a very intimate woman. I want it this way. And I'm like, we're going to build that, because the truth is, I do want it. I want that. Yeah. And so if I want it, I'm going to be willing to do the work and be authentic. And that's a big piece for me, y'all. I am like really coming back into this space of like, Gabrielle, it's very safe to be vulnerable. And I know you're super sensitive, and I know that you want things to be a particular way, but it's safe to be that vulnerable. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I'm grateful that I have the sisterhood to do that, and that I'm willing to build further into what I want.
Thank you for that. Ashe, you referenced Kenya's book, and I wanted to just show it. We all talked about Kenya K. Stevens and how we came together in the Blue Butterflies, but this is the book, and up-level communication is what we're talking about as the method to really work through your issues and then own what your shit is in that, not make it be about the other person, and really let it be an opportunity for personal growth. So this is available where books are sold. You can get it on Amazon and blah, blah, blah. She does coaching. She has, trained a legion of coaches. Monique, myself, and Gabby are all coaches in various aspects of the technology that came out of our time in PLA. So we just wanted to give a plug to Kenya, and I'll put comments below in terms of the info on that book. But we want you to get that. So Gabby, thank you for sharing that. Monique, what do you have to say?
It's so
You just
interesting.
watching us. You just watching
I
us.
really, I really
Like you
am.
watching the show.
I feel like I don't have anything to say,
Okay.
but we're here on camera, right?
Yeah.
But here's what I do. What I will add is that it's such a powerful opportunity to recognize how we are creating our reality,
Mm-hmm.
and that has been the greatest gift for me to see the mechanics of creating my reality, to understand this is an energy-based system that looks like it's about the material world. The material world is the least of this motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, we are working with energies. And so one of the things that I so appreciated about the experience where we all had the vent the other day, and because Gabrielle and I had a event also, was me really recognizing that Gabrielle was expressing an aspect of myself, because the major law here is oneness. Nothing can exist in my reality that isn't connected to me somehow. It's not out of the blue. It's not random. It is a mirrored expression of me. So, however, but the story I'm telling about it is how, where I own it. And so I just love understanding that everyone is here and we're all in service to one another at the energetic level. We're all reflecting one another at the energetic level. There's only oneness going on. So I can never be like, that don't have nothing to do with me. Because it does. It has everything to do with me. Now, one of the things that you guys know about me is that I'm in this place recently where, like, but I don't care.
That part.
And it's an interesting place to be.
Yeah.
Because I'm just following it. I'm like, oh, I actually can't feel that I care about this. But I do love. Like I don't care, but I love, right? So I'm in this place of like, oh, well, what's the difference? What is the difference? Because love is a very different thing. Love is eternal and it's enduring, but caring vacillates to me. You know what I mean? So it's like I actually don't need to care, but I do need to love, because that's an expression of who I am. And so when Gabrielle and I are having a conversation, I was like, I actually really don't care about this. And it just sort of lightened it up a bit. You know what I mean? Like it just sort of was like, oh, okay, but I actually care. I don't care about this experience, but I care about you. So I'm going to be with this experience, even though it doesn't have the same value in my reality, but because I love you, I'm going to be with it. And that is something, I feel like that's kind of I feel like that's the age thing, possibly. You know what I mean? Like I've spent so much time in my life listening to girls, listening to being the girl, listen to I've done that for so many years.
So did
And
you
I
feel
just
like that listening to both of us? Did it feel like
no,
that?
I
Okay.
didn't feel like that
Okay,
because I
good.
don't care anymore.
Okay.
I don't. But I used to, and it used to work me up. It
Okay.
used to frustrate me. It used to deplete me. But now I'm like, oh, this is what women do. Like women and girls, we have a lot of narration about ourselves and about other people that really ultimately doesn't mean anything about anyone but the one that's narrating it.
But that's what people don't do, is come back to themselves. This is grown woman
Right.
shit. You know, if you make it just about the other person and you never look in the
Yeah.
mirror, then you miss the treasure.
Right.
And what we did is we heard the da-da-da-da-da-da. We were in our ego, but we looked back and we took what was ours. That's why we
Right.
can sit here today and be like,
Yes.
okay, all right, let's talk.
Right.
What's up? I love you. I still love you. The love never went nowhere.
The love never went anywhere. And so, but I'm just in this interesting experience of all the times in my life where, in years, where I cared about what other people thought about, and it just drained me.
Yeah.
It just depleted me. And now I'm giving myself permission to let that go, but to be in the truth, which is I love. I don't care, but I do love. And they are different in my system.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting. I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. I'm going to be with this. And I could say it to both of you. Like, I didn't have to be ashamed about it. I didn't have to think you guys were going to think I was being a bitch. And both of you laughed. Both of you were like, you know what I mean? And so I just really appreciate being able to let that go. Let go of the need to be, oh, well, what are they going to think? And how come this? I don't have any of that anymore. That's gone away from me. And it feels so good to be gone away. So that's what I have to add.
Beautiful.
Okay. Well, Gabby mentioned mother stuff, and so I wanted to talk about the mother wound. Another thing I want to put on the table, just because we're all here, like the whole colorism, the light-skinned girl shit, you know, like the whole, arrogance and that whole piece. Like, let's talk about all of that shit while we're here talking and really do some healing and let some women see how we move through stuff. So the mother stuff, we all have mothers, and, Mom, I love you. I know you watch our podcast, so love you. Whatever we say ain't about you per se, but it's my perception of what I'm dealing with on the other side of you. Got that little note to my mama.
Disclaimer.
She'll send me a text later. She won't say nothing on here, but she'll send me a text. Don't text me. Go ahead and put it in on the podcast, okay? So let's talk about how our relationships with our mothers are reflected in our relationships with our girlfriends. Can you see that? Can you see underneath that? And maybe not just girlfriends, but women, how you address the feminine, okay? And then the whole colorism thing, the light skin, dark skin, because I know that's been a piece that I've moved through. I've moved through I don't know what because Gab, you and I've never talked about this before. I don't know what your experience is, as a quote, and I don't even know if you identify yourself as a quote unquote light skinned girl. You know what I'm saying? Cute girls got a thing. Right. Everybody got a thing. I'm a black bone, you a red bone, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't even care.
It's an interesting thing. I want to start with the colorism piece because most of my best friends over my entire life have been very chocolate women.
Okay.
And I have always held space because I know it's a thing for the colorism. Oh, you was in the fields and I was in the house. Baby, we was still being done wrong. So don't even give me that slavery thing going on right there. I don't even do that. But one thing that I do know is that darker skinned women have always had challenges because of the mass narrative of the light skin versus dark skin thing. So I've always just held space because to me, baby, y'all chocolate women, for one, y'all skin on tight, okay? I mean, it's just a different kind of glow and a different kind of beauty that I really adore and admire personally. You don't age as fast as my little lessened melanin self. Like, you have strengths as a darker skinned woman. So I personally have never had anything going on with dark skinned women. Most of my best friends have been dark skinned, but I know that there's always a thing like the masses have told you that you're less than me. Why that's the case, I have no idea. I am more light skinned because of my father, so my mother is browner. So I actually had black inferiority problems. I had the opposite of what you have. And I remember sharing that with Monique like 8 years ago, where I didn't feel beautiful because I was not darker. So I'm on the other side of that journey, and I love sharing that because you don't know what people are carrying. You don't know the insecurities people are carrying. You know, darker skinned women, well, I'm not pretty because I'm not light. I'm like, my mother's a black woman. I'm not pretty because I'm not as dark as her. Are the things I had to move through. And I went to schools with dark, beautiful women. Most of my mentors, like Kenya K. Stevens and Anita Asigwe Spencer, are darker skinned women. So I've had to work through embracing this lightness and being multiple, you know, races. I'm sure down in my lineage, there's some Anglo-Saxons, which I have had troubles with being a melanated woman on this planet. So I have really had to do self-acceptance in a real way, because I actually ostracized the lighter aspects of me and did not identify with it for a very long time. So I think I'm one of the rare light-skinned women that like have that kind of story. When I first told Monique, she was like, "What?" You know, it was something she had not heard before, but that was my authenticity. Is, you know, it's black supremacy, baby. I'm like, that's what I've seen all my life. That's the supreme. So
I read this book back in the day called The Color Complex. And what it really helped me understand is that people at the end of the spectrum, like you and me, Gabby, are the ones who caught hell. So the darker ones caught hell for being dark. The lighter ones caught hell from the blacks and the whites for being lighter. And then the ones in the middle, like Monique, they were like, "What are y'all talking about? Like what?" You know what I mean? They don't necessarily understand the challenges at the ends of the spectrum. But what we do know is that at least on the lighter end of the spectrum, there was an appreciation or a, you know, like folks were trying to be light, you know? So even though it was coming out of some kind of psychosis, there was still a desire to not be on the darker end of the spectrum. So those are kinds of things that we're healing through, you know? And I've said on other podcasts, I've always been told that I was beautiful, you know, as a black child. My father's African. So like, you got a father who got I got the, you know, from the motherland father. So I had an appreciation for black and those kinds of things. But when I come outside of my house and see beauty reflected in a very different way, even for black women, I still didn't see me for a long time. Now I see me, you know, I see the brown skinned woman, the dark skinned woman reflected. But it's just really interesting. And what's funny with you, Gabby, I have a lot of friends who are lighter skinned, which is interesting. And I didn't seek them out, but that's just how it worked out. Like a lot of my friends are of lighter hue. And I'm like, wow, that's real interesting. Like, it's just funny. Like, so maybe the opposite, we're giving each other the light and to balance it out per se. So shout out to my light skinned friends.
Hey, you know what I
That's
mean?
interesting, because my mother was a light-skinned woman, and she very much valued having light skin. And so I was raised by a woman. Well, I actually wasn't raised by my mother. I was raised by my grandmother. But my mother had colorism because my grandmother was half white. The thing that was a trip to me about it, though, was my grandmother was half white because her mother was raped by a white man. And we held it up as a, like, oh, she's half white. Oh my God. And she was treated really special and all of that. And so a lot of colorism came down through my family. And for many years, I really identified as dark. And it just only in the last several years have I gotten like, oh, I'm brown. Like, oh, I'm actually right. And so it's an interesting thing. And when I was younger, my mother would comment on little girls who were light skinned with long hair because that's what she looked like. And so I based my own value on not looking the way that my mother thought was pretty. So that was an interesting thing inside of me. And I did choose girlfriends who were light skinned because I thought they were pretty, because my mother thought they were pretty, you know? And um and so what that did inside of me was, it was like, okay, I'm not pretty, but I'm smart. And I did a thing inside of my consciousness around, I am not going to base my value on how I look. Because I watched my mother base her value on how she looked. I watched my mother determine her sense of beauty based upon the people, and that was the thing that I wasn't gonna do. And it really raged a war inside of me. And so because I am a beautiful woman and I am a sensual woman and I'm sexual and I like men and all that sort of stuff. But it was taught to me in this very convoluted way. Like my grandfather taught his daughters to like he taught his daughters, you're beautiful and you're sexy, and men will give you whatever you want if you know how to use that. Like he
Mm.
almost taught them how to be prostitutes,
Oh,
basically.
wow.
But I mean that's basically what it was. He taught them that they're but that's that old school stuff. Like women are possessions, women are sexual creatures. And he was a man who valued women and their sexuality, so he taught his daughters to be that, you know?
It's interesting.
And so I just was like, I'm better than that. Like I'm not.
So how did that set up with the colorism and then using it kind of as a social capital within the
Hmm.
family? And
Yeah.
then, so you decided that you were going to value yourself outside of looks. But think of those. So this is part of the problem with sisters. If we're not feeling like we're part of the beauty equation, then there's jealousies and arrogances and those kinds of things that we don't necessarily speak of. It's an air that one may come in like I'm just better because
Yeah.
I'm this or I'm that, or the body, the biological spacesuit that I'm in works with the narrative, the common narrative that's happening now. Yours doesn't necessarily work with that. These are some of the things that we are hitting up against when we are working and being in relationship with our
Hmm.
sisters. We don't necessarily say it, but you're just hit in the face with whatever it is that they're presenting and how they feel about it, how they feel about
Yes.
themselves in their body. You can feel it. You
Yes.
can feel it. You can feel when
Yes.
they're uncomfortable. You can feel when they're put off by your comfortability in your own bodies. Like, how
Hmm.
could you be
Hmm.
comfortable with all that black? How could you be comfortable and you so light?
Hmm.
How could you be, all
Hmm.
of that? I mean, it's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing. And I think that it's just about us taking responsibility for ourselves.
Yeah.
I like when I was younger, I can look back now. This is the first time I've ever said this out loud, but I can look back now and see that I made intelligence the value system. And so I really looked down on women who made their social power the way they looked. Like
Okay.
I just thought like, oh, that's so beneath me. Like that's so
Mhm.
like what are you gonna and here's what I used to think. What are you gonna do when you get 40 and that starts going away? That's what I would think. What are you gonna rest on when those looks begin to diminish? Then where's your brain? That's how I really
Mhm.
and that's because my mother and her sisters their their value was how they looked and
That's what they
what
were taught. You said
that is what
granddaddy
they
was
were
setting it up
taught.
that
That's
way.
right. That's right.
So
And
if we are devaluing women, no matter how they value themselves, it's
right.
still part and parcel of the issue, part and parcel of the problem,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. And so um I feel like but that was my ego that needed to find some leverage because
Mhm.
I didn't the thing that was valued in the family I didn't have. So
Yeah.
I created my own value. I'm
Mhm.
smart as fuck.
Yes,
I
I
can
get that.
outthink y'all. I can outtalk y'all. I can
Everybody needs some leverage.
right,
You gotta get
And
your gift.
so that was how I did it. But now as an adult, like as a person who's done a lot of work to heal, I see where all of that stuff is born out of white supremacy.
Yes.
Those are the systems that were put in place to keep us divided from ourselves, to keep us
Mhm.
divided from one another, to keep us at war with one another, to keep us at war with ourselves. And so that has been the work, and that's why I love the work that we do in our community and in the community that we can in our families, where we really truly are doing the work to take responsibility for our wounds, the karma that we have experienced from our families, and understanding that we're here in service to one another. We're here and we're here to be gods.
Yes.
And so if you're at odds with any part of yourself and not understanding that everything serves to further, then you're missing your own divinity.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's
So that
beautiful. Like,
takes us right back to the treasure and the trigger.
Yeah.
You know, whatever your sister reflects back to you, if you get curious about it and start to heal it within yourself, then you can just love your sister. Doesn't matter how she presents, what she does,
yeah.
understanding that she comes to help grow you. Go ahead, Gabs.
Yeah, I just think that, as you were speaking, Monique, about the insecurity piece, that is where up level is so powerful because you get to share your insecurity and own that it's yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, well, I've used this all my life to get around in the world. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, well, thank you for sharing that. Like, how would you like to be supported? We're not necessarily taking on the baggage of others. Now we will hold it with you and walk with you as you own it and unpack, and we can help you unpack. But there's so much beauty in that. And I think that was really what I needed in sisterhood, to actually have it, is to know that there's a room for my insecurities. There's a room for my curiosity, my questions, my doubts. There's room.
Yes.
And I can explore them. Because if I can't explore the unknown of life and the unknown of me with you, what do we have?
Right.
What do we have? There's nothing.
Yeah,
Right.
you don't have that. We're faking
Right.
it. And who wants that?
And so that's really like when I ventured to Adina last week, it's like, hey, this is a part of me that I'm learning about me, and I'm willing to share it with you. Now, this is a bridge for us to actually have connection. You know what I mean? Because that was one of the things. I love how Monique said she was smart. Now, in my family, my sisters, because I am the only one mixed with Latina, they have had challenges around their beauty. And I think that's another reason where I'm like always holding space, because they had the same father, who's this chocolate man, so they look alike. I felt like an outcast. I did not feel pretty because the standard was actually y'all. You know what I mean? And so, where was I going to get to? The insecurity and doubt piece is like, I have these feelings. How can I even be my true self if you don't know that about me, or don't know that I'm carrying that? And so it just has really been a powerful thing for me to bring this type of technology to my own home, my own sisters, because back in the day, if I didn't have these tools, we would just be eating at each other, trying to over ego each other. My ego is bigger than yours. Ego wrestling. That's really what it is. Just egos wrestling with each other, instead of like, wow, my heart has compassion for you because you've been carrying these thoughts and feelings about yourself for 20 plus, 30 plus years. You know what I mean? And so that's where I really appreciate being able to share with you last week, Adina, like, hey, where I'm at, and that was really based off my standard of sisterhood, which is, I'm like Kenya, I want a sorority. I want us to be close and connected and have threads that hold us together. I want that closeness. And I'm not always sure that I can have it. Definitely because, y'all, this lifetime, I really incarnated to do a lot of lineal healing, matrilineal healing. I am the one carrying the load for everyone behind me. For every doctor behind me, I am doing all the work. My mother birthed her medicine through me.
Yes.
She birthed me to be the medicine.
I say.
Yes.
And so it just is a lot of doubts I've had around feminine connection, because I wasn't able to trust my mom for a long time. We didn't have the systems in place to know that we are one and the same. To know that our insecurities and doubts with each other actually have a safe space, and we get to negotiate the kind of relationship we have.
Yes.
I get
Come on
to
now.
negotiate my relationship with Adina. I get to negotiate my relationship with Monique.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And for so long, I had that challenge with men too. Like, oh, I see this daddy. Hold on, I want that. But I didn't even know how to negotiate. So sisterhood, I'm like, oh, I see you. You're a beautiful goddess. Like, I want to be close to you. I want you to be my big sister. I don't have any sisters. Like, I could not ask for that without the type of initiation we had in Blue Butterfly initiation. So it's been powerful. It's been powerful. And to move into the mother piece, if that's okay. you know, for sure, I did not trust my mom. So it's hard to trust women. So if I don't trust women, the only way to trust them is to unleash all my insecurities with you.
Yeah.
That's the only way. I gotta unfold. I gotta like peel back every layer to have that deep connection to actually establish trust. I know trust is an inner thing, but you know, some things are only learned through the patterns we get to witness. You know,
And through the experience of it.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So that mother relationship is definitely going to show up in every feminine relationship you have. And that's
beautiful.
what we get to reparent ourselves and remother ourselves. You know, I put a post on my page the other day, like my inner mother. Oh, she's so sweet. She just knows me so well. She knows what's gonna soothe me, what's gonna make me feel like I'm the top daughter to her in the world. I've really had to create an inner mother. And with creating that inner mother, oddly enough, my mom has started to actually kind of show up in that way.
Nice.
I'm emitting this vibration. This is the way I want to be loved and treated.
That's right.
To the magic.
You know what I mean?
To the magic. Yes.
It's the most powerful of this work that we do is becoming mechanics in our own lives as the creators. And that is the thing that changes everything, to recognize that whatever I see, if I spot it out there, it's because it's happening inside of me. If it's triggering me, it's because it's in me somehow. Nothing is separate. This is an energetic based system, and we look separate. We appear to be separate because we have these physical bodies, but we are not separate. We are all functioning off the energy. And when you can, like you said, create an inner mother, and then your external mother begins to respond. That's
so
power.
beautiful. That's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
That's power.
Okay.
Well, Gabby, I'm glad that you're doing the work for your family. That is beautiful work. I've always seen you as an amazing goddess and a powerful woman that transcends time and space. It's not about age, chronological age. And so for that, I just, again, wanted to reiterate how much I just appreciate what you bring. And even as we move through our challenges and we're going to be authentically where we are, I'm excited about where we're going to get to.
Exactly.
And I'm excited about what we're creating for sisterhood, because we're showing that sisterhood is clunky, y'all. It can be clunky. I mean, life is, it's messy. But we're here for it. We're here for it. We got both hands, both feet in this stew, and we're making it. We are making it. So
I really
check us out. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I really appreciate that, because anything worth having is worth working for. We've heard that cliche saying, and it's so real. And I just appreciate you, Adina, for making time, because that was a hard thing for me, as I was just like, nobody has time for me. That's a childhood condition, and I'm still working out. Like, you made the time to hold me, you know what I mean? And to me, that's the stuff that's like, oh yeah, Adina's my sister. Yeah, yeah, I know. You know what I mean? I don't have to
Miss Adina is happy. She always felt that way. It's like, what?
Oh, I ain't crying my makeup, y'all. My husband about to take me out on my date night.
Okay. Well, let's get you out, because you are so cute, and we know Gabby is a new mom. And so, hey, you got to enjoy these times when you can dress up and get out and be cute. Monique, let's close it out. We want to remind you that we have a Goddess Gathering retreat. So we are doing this work with women. We're doing the work ourselves, and we're taking other women through these processes too, in our actual lives. You leaving, Gabs? You out? She's out. Okay. So we are doing this work together, and we are doing it. We're showing other women how to work through this. So we have a retreat. We're going to Bali in July. We have 2 weeks in Bali, 2 different cohorts of women. So 7 days, or is it 8 days, 7 nights? 8 days, 7 nights. July 5th through the 12th, and then another group coming July 13th through the 20th. Please join us. Do this work that is healing your soul, and it all goes all the way back to like your mother, your grandmother, and so on and so on and so on. Yes.
And you can't escape the work. The work isn't, the work, you either do the work or you suffer from not doing the
That's
work.
it.
It's as simple as that.
Well, you're
So,
thinking that everything is against you. You're thinking
that's
that you
right.
can't get the life that you
That's
want. You
right.
can't get the love that you want, but you're
Right.
not healing those things that's blocking it, which is really
Right.
just you. So
That's
we're doing it in Bali, but we're doing it here
yeah.
right now. We
Yeah.
have goddess gathering every Thursday.
Thursday.
We meet
Yes.
with a group of women all over the world, where Gabby just talked about a sisterhood. But sisterhood, how can you have sisterhood without doing the healing? This is
Yeah.
what we're doing. We're holding each other through this healing. We're transforming, and literally we're changing the world. We're changing the world one goddess at a time, because she goes home and she shifts in her family. She works
Yeah.
things with her children, with
Mm-hmm.
her mate, with her mother. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
And with herself in the mirror. That's
Yeah.
what this is.
Yeah.
It's no jokes, y'all. It's
Yes.
time. It's
It is
time.
time. It's time.
Yes.
So
So thank you for that, Mo.
thank you.
That was amazing.
That was great.
Yes.
That was great.
Mhm.
All
Anything else you
right.
want to
Well,
share?
no, I don't. Let me. This is like business stuff, but I literally, if this goes over 1 hour, I won't be able to post this
Oh, okay. Well,
TikTok.
are we at an hour? Are we there? Okay,
We're
we got
almost
three
there.
minutes. Okay, we out.
Okay.
Y'all
Yes.
come dance with me too. Belly Dancers of Color Collective. Love y'all.
I love you
Bye.
all. Bye bye.
Thanks for watching.